Hello guys, and welcome back to another For Honor Heroes build video. Today's hero is the Warden, and the mode we're focused around is Breach Attack. So let's go ahead and get into this now. And the three perk selections that we have here is Shields Up, Endurance, and Headhunter. Now the reason why I go with Shields Up, besides the the three common perks that you get in the beginning, is because it gives you 15 more health shield. Now, you've received a 15 house shield, not 15 more house shield, but you receive a 15 house shield on top of your regular health bar, and that's as soon as you respawn, or that's as soon as you get revived from an ally player when you're attacking in Breach. This basically gives you an extensive amount of damage that you can intake before you are down. And there's nothing else that you have to do besides just start the game and or get revived. So every time you respawn or every time you get back up, you're going to have an extra 15 house shield. So it's good if you are getting revived and there's players around. At least gives you 15 more damage that you can intake before you have to go heal and or withstand more damage and win the battle. It's awesome if you start off, because then you got a full health bar, then you got another health bar that's 15 over your original health bar that's indicated in yellow like a shield. But in my opinion, that's just like having more health in anyways, and it doesn't go away or deplete unless minions, captains, or officers or players are depleting your health. Now it's better than Aegis, and that's because Aegis increases it by 20%, which only in the end is 3 more added to the 15. On top of that, we do have Headhunter. No, not Headhunter, but that's like the only benefit you're going to get from Aegis, besides the shield that you can pick up on the battlefield during Breach. Now, you're not always going to guarantee that shield, but if you do happen to get it, at least it does increase it by 20%. Now, if you notice, they did nerf the shields pickup in Breach mode. It basically gives you a little bit more than half life of a shield over your life bar. Now, 20% of that is about 13, 14. I did the math, and that's not that much more. Or I think it's not even that. I think it's like, no, from that, I'm sorry, I didn't do a percentage from that to the pickup. But if you had Vengeful Barrier, it basically gives you like 6 more, which is like 21, But that's not what we're worried about here. We're worried about the pickup boost for defense, which is a shield, and it gives you about another, almost fills up your whole health bar of shield if you have Aegis. But again, using Aegis as your secondary slot, preferably over Endurance and Headhunter, isn't the best way to go. The Valor is nice if you can perform an execution. Half the time players are always trying to reinforce each other, and half of the time you're not able to gain an execution because the enemy players will knock you out of it, or minions and or officers. So that kind of renders that useless when you have other perks that you can use that are more viable for this mode and helps you stay alive in fights, like Endurance. Endurance gives you 3% stamina cost per renown level. Now, a renown level, if you're not familiar with For Honor and you don't know what that is whenever you gain a skill. And you have 4 skills / feats that you can use with each hero. Upon gaining a renown level, which is what we're talking about here, you unlock a feat, a skill. For instance, the Warden has Inspire for his second feat, which allows him and allies to deal more damage and the minions to attack faster. That skill or feat is your second renown level. So if you got that feat unlocked, you would be having a 6% stamina cost reduction. If you got all 4, you'll have a total of 12% stamina cost reduction, which is very beneficial in battles when you're fighting against 1 or 2 players and you're using your bash combos or feints. It allows you to sustain stamina by performing any kind of maneuvers or combos that you want to without having to be exhausted. Sorry, still a little sick, getting over it now. Now, the last perk I suggest is Headhunter, and I use that over Survival Instincts and Fresh Focus because we are Breach Attack, which means the more health that we can gain from shields and or perks and other benefits, the longer you're able to stay alive, the more you're able to withstand damage before you actually go down, which gives you more time for your players to reinforce you or for you to hold out and get revenge and take on the people that are ganking you. So Headhunter works differently than it does with Endurance. It's not based off your renown level. Now it's based off of any unique player or bot hero execution. So you have to execute either the officers on the zones, this will count towards that, or you have to execute any hero. Now I've had some comments asking me, does that mean you have to execute each player, or does that mean any player you execute, you're able to get a 4 increase? Now, it doesn't have to be, oh, you execute 1 player each on the map or on the scoreboard. As long as you execute 4 unique players, which is 4 PvP players, or 4 bot players, or 4 captains, you are going to gain an increase of your health. And the max you can get is 16, and that's 4 plus 4. I mean, that's 4 times 4. I believe, yeah. 4 times 4 is 16. Yes. But yeah, I just want to make sure I was saying that right, you know. Don't want to get punished in the comments down below by you guys. But let's say you executed 2 players. You're going to have 8 more health, plus the 15 health shield that you get with shields up. Let's say you respawn and you already have Headhunter maxed out. So now you have a 16 health period, and then you got a 15 shield on top of that health. In a total, you're gaining, what is that? 31 more health, 1 more damage that you can absorb before you go down, which is very beautiful. This allows you to either withstand attacks enough if you're getting ganked and you're being a little defensive when you're getting ganked, at least to go on a revenge at least 2 times if you're playing right enough. It just gives you so much more room to stay alive and wiggle with and defend things and not worry like, okay, if you guys are coming, I'll be able to hold these guys out. Just get here fast. That's my opinion in the perk selections for the build. Now moving on to the feats. My first feat. Now, I struggled to decide on what feat to go with here, because I did like body count, but and I do like conquer. Now, this is, in my opinion, I'm going to tell you to go with whatever playstyle you want to go with. My playstyle is, I'm thinking about reinforcing my teammates, not letting them die, getting the shield banner. Yeah, pushing my ram, but I know if I just stay at the ram and all my other teammates are suffering, sometimes it's not the best, because then after all the other teammates suffer, all the players are going to come to the ram and start ganking me. So being able to capture zones faster, which is also viable in Breach, getting your ram faster that way by having fire arrows hit the enemy troops. Also, it allows your boost to last longer. So let's say the shield, it's not really going to be beneficial for. The shield stays on you until it depletes, so it's not going to last longer either way. But for the attack boost that's on the ground, for the speed boost on the ground, it'll last twice as long. Also, if you go and you kill, what is it, the chieftain, or I forgot what it's called, but there's a unique bot in the world for Breach that grants you attack, defense, and speed buff. Now this, okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and give an example of what I mean. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you what I mean by who the chieftain or the guardian is, which is this character right here in Breach. I'm gonna go ahead and 1v1 him and kill him, and upon my execution you're gonna see my buffs, and because I have Conquer on, you're gonna see that they actually last way longer than usual. So there it is, buffs are activated. We're gonna go ahead and see how long it's been lasting with having these buffs and Conquer on at the same time. As you can see in the bottom left corner, you see Conquer's feet flashing, indicating that it's in use. And we've already been 10 seconds. We're at 20 seconds now. Look how badass that was. It allows me to go run, catch up a player, get the shield back. I actually think I'm playing with my uncle right now, so whenever I play with my uncle, I play bots. Just grind it up, you know. But we are already at 30 seconds, and the buffs are still activated. $40. Buffs are still activated. 50. And they end in 50 seconds. So I'm pretty sure that's about a 20 more seconds. Usually it's 30 seconds, so you get about a 20 more second increase on having those buffs. Now this does work with that as well. So you can see that you can take out, I forgot what he's called, the Guardian. There we go. If you take out the Guardian, the boost from the Guardian that you get on your character will last longer than everybody else in your party, and you can notice that if you have Conquer on. Now, going with the other playstyle, if you want to choose that and you want to stick with the Ram and only the Ram and take out the troops, by doing that, body count, yes, would be a nice way to go. But once you get to the end where you're fighting the commander of the enemy team, half the time the troops ain't getting up there, half the time you guys are just trying to rush the commander, half of the time there's other players around. And there's always an attack and a shield boost laying around. Now if you're really going to be opt out for those boosts, which you want to do with Conquer, and this also helps you control zones faster in Breach, then Conquer is the way to go. But if you want to stay around your Ram and be that type of supporting player, then go with body count. And then we choose those over Come At Me because yes, you gain more renown, yes, you gain more health on kill, but you'll also take more damage from attacks. It's not passive. And once you get your full renown level 4 levels, what is the point in really activating Come At Me? Now the second feat, I go with Inspire. I choose that over Fiat Flukes and Thick Blood. And I was thinking about Thick Blood, but there's not always players using characters with Bleed. And regardless, if you are fighting a character with Bleed, getting protection from it for 3 seconds isn't that much of a protection in my opinion, when you can go with Inspire, which is going to allow. This doesn't only work with your minions, it work with your allies. If you do a heavy, I've noticed with experience, regular heavies is about what? The second heavy from Warden is 40, but if you do it with Inspire activated, you're going to gain 8 more damage for a total of 48 damage. The lights gain 4 damage, so let's say your light hits for 20. You'll be hitting for 24, which is pretty nice. It also gives that damage buff to your allies. So anybody within the radius of Inspire, when it's activated, you'll see a green circle around the Warden. Whoever's in that radius is going to gain a damage buff just like you. So when you guys are at the end towards the commander, you can use this when you guys are there together or with another player and just start going ham on the commander. As well as if you're pushing the Rams or you're pushing zones like you would with the Conqueror, or if you ever see that you have this feat, I suggest using your minions around you to your advantage, fighting whatever player you're fighting. That way they're getting attacked twice as fast by the minions and yourself doing more damage. You're going to have more of the advantage in that way. I don't use Fiat Flukes and I don't use Thick Blood. I told you why for Thick Blood, Fiat Flukes. It doesn't do damage anymore. It doesn't kill the minions as well. All it does is put anybody in the grenade in an exhausted state, as well as yourself and your allies. It might be good to throw it at the commander, but the commander really does regenerate from exhausted state pretty quickly. Third feat we go with is Second Wind. I choose that over Pugno Mortis and Takedown. Reason why that is because you're recovering health. Now when you're in Breach Attack, all lives matter, but your live respawn count is very important. You guys share that throughout the whole team. Whoever doesn't get revived and presses X to respawn is going to deplete that count. Now being able to not run or have too many options to heal in Breach, it's always good to have Second Wind, because even if you're halfway down, you can use this skill because it has a refresh cooldown on it, which means you can use it an unlimited amount of times throughout the game. But it does have a cooldown, which is about 20 to 30 seconds, which is not bad. So in my opinion, if you're fighting a fight, you just got done and you have this, use it. Every time it's prompted to use it and you need it or could use it, because you're going to get it back soon, as well as there's zones that you can run to the hill if you really need to. But this is a very valuable skill, in my opinion, to stay alive and keep your team's respawn count up. Pugno Mortis does do damage. It's not a great radius. You can miss, players can't see it coming. You do hurt your own minions and your own teammates with it. In my opinion, it's just not as great as the other feats that you can use. Takedown, I've honestly used this feat like once or twice since the game came out. I don't really care for it. It's only awesome if you're going to activate it while you're doing your bashing combos, because when you do your bashing combos, you can always feint into a grab and then throw the player on the ground and get your double heavy attack. But again, this is Breach Attack. We're trying to keep our lives up. All lives matter. Let's go with it. Last feat is Starlord Banner, and I use that over Catapult and Morale Booster. And the reason why that is because this doesn't only heal yourself, but it also heals your allies. Again, you're in breach, all lives matter. Keeping yourself and your team alive is very important. This is also very awesome when you get to the end towards commander, because you could plop that right where you guys are fighting the commander, and your teammate could be going ham on the commander, getting hit by the enemies, as well as just focusing on the commander and healing that damage. Now Catapult, it's alright. It doesn't do a great amount of damage to the enemy commander. They made it to where you also not only hear it and see the radius on the ground, but it takes about 5 to 7 seconds for it to actually hit. Worst buff to Catapult in my opinion. It was awesome when you were able to take down players that were getting ganked. I used to have my teammates getting ganked by 3 to 4 players, and now I see that happening, but wow, Catapult, wouldn't even see it coming. Now since they nerfed it, I really wish that Ubisoft, where you guys can also tweet this out, that they need to take away the enemy player team from seeing where the catapult's going to land. Now, if they could hear it, and if it takes a long time, whatever. Don't let the enemies see the icon of where we planted the catapult. Why should they be allowed to see that? No enemies knows where. If you're in war and you hear a catapult coming, you know it's going to be coming. You need to be looking out for it, but you're not going to know where it's going to land. That's what they need to do to at least make this catapult move viable again. But it's still not as good as Starlight Banner when it comes to breach attack. Morale Booster is nice. You can improve your damage and all your allies' damage just like Inspire, but the only difference is they don't have to be in a radius. Once you activate this, everybody's weapons will glow with like a greenish blue flame from Game of Thrones, like the little dragon fire that they got in the bottom of the red keep, you know what I mean? But it has a little greenish glow on it, indicating that you guys are doing improved damage. It doesn't matter where they are. You could be at your spawn and the enemies could be at the commander, completely far opposite distance of each other, and as soon as you activate it, anybody that is alive will gain the buff. So in my opinion, if you are using this skill, wait till you see that all your players are alive. Don't have an execution or a player that's in a revived state and then activate this, because then you and whoever is alive is going to benefit it. It could be you and one player. Try to do it the best when all your teammates are alive and use it. But that's not the one we're going with. We're going with Starlight Banner. I really hope you guys enjoyed this build. Thank you so much for taking your time to watch, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later.